what are the plans for today? Well, we haven't really got any. That's been the great thing about this trip so far. We left on such short notice that we just didn't really plan anything. It's a pretty good way to travel. In the past I've always done quite a bit of research, which to be honest is pretty good as well, because you make sure that you don't miss things, and you do end up seeing a lot of stuff. When you just travel off the cuff like this, I suppose there is a danger that you miss out on things. But we've been up here quite a few times now, so we know a few places that are worth visiting, like Gutulia National Park. I love it up here. It's really nice, especially when the sun comes out. Just trying to get out up there. So yeah, I think I'll finish my coffee, might get some breakfast on the go, and then we'll decide what we're going to do today.
We spent the day exploring the southern end of the National Park, as in the future we want to leave the truck and head off into the wilderness and hike in the area for a couple of days, but that's for another trip. By late afternoon we were back in Gutulia and we managed to find another lakeside camp spot. So we've used the Trangia 25 unit on both our trips up north this year, and this legendary Swedish storm cooker is all you need to eat well in the outdoors. Tonight we'll be knocking up a falukorv fried rice. Falukorv is a classic Swedish sausage. It's like a good quality hot dog on steroids. Forget your meatballs from IKEA. This, in my opinion, is proper Swedish grub. The modern sausage was created by a butcher called Anders Olsen in the town of Falun in 1870, hence the name falukorv, as the Swedish word for sausage is korv. After dinner, it was time for a quick drone flight to check out our surroundings from the air, and as the evenings were becoming cooler, we prepped some wood and got a campfire on the go to keep us warm until we retired up into the rooftop tent.
We've got a drink on the go. I've got some wine. Trish is drinking a Lafroig whiskey, a nice peaty Scotch whiskey. And over there on the lake, I don't know if you can make it out, we've got the moon rising. It's not a full moon, but it's not far off. Oh man, I wish every Monday morning was like this. Although it's starting to get pretty cold now. The gas canister that I've got in the back of the truck was really struggling to boil the water. That's always a sign of winter. Last night I think it must have been about 3 or 4 degrees, I think, when we were sitting around the fire. And I zipped my sleeping bag up completely for the first time last night as well. So yeah, I think autumn has eventually arrived up here.
So we had a lazy morning around camp, bird watching, mushroom spotting and berry picking, and then we decided to go for a hike back at the main visitor centre.
So there was a couple of camper vans coming out when we were driving down here, and there's 2 parked up there. When we were here 4 years ago, it was 4 years ago this month, we parked up here and we had the place to ourselves. And here's the little Dano shelter that we used. So this is night 3 in Norway. We've had a couple of easy days, which is good actually. We've just been spending time in the forest, soaking it all in. But we've just come down this track here. You can see it's a little overgrown. Puts the motorhomers off from coming down. So we've decided to spend the night here. There's a lake at the bottom and we've just parked the truck up. And there's a long drop toilet there. There's also a bin. And yeah, nice little area to camp for the night. I think we'll be moving back on into Sweden tomorrow. So it's 7 PM now. As you can see, it's beginning to get dark. It's a lovely sunset happening over there. I've got the GoPro on the tripod. Hopefully I'll be able to capture something decent. But I think the Northern Lights are due an appearance tonight, so I'll put a night lapse on and hopefully we can catch some of those as well. So that was our first sub-zero night. Sitting around the campfire last night, I could really feel the cold starting to come in from behind, and I think by the time we turned in at 9:30, it must have been hovering around 0 or +1 degrees Celsius. And then we woke up this morning at 8 o'clock and well, it's still minus figures at the moment, probably -1 or -2 I think. All the truck was frozen. I had difficulty getting the locks open on the canopy, which is always a bit of a nightmare. And then trying to get a brew on in the morning. The gas is always way too cold, so you've got to spend a bit of time warming up the gas bottle. But we got there in the end. I managed to boil a kettle of water for the first coffee of the morning. But the scenery is amazing. I tried to capture the mist on the lake. I tried last night and again this morning, but it's pretty difficult to capture. But it's outstanding. I mean, what a place to wake up in. So we're just getting all packed up here. All the tents still frozen. I don't think it's going to get much above 0 today. But we've decided to head into Mora. We've been wild camping now for 3 nights in a row. We're starting to run short on supplies. We've pretty much run out of drinking water. We need some more food, and you know, we need a shower. So we're going to head into town. I know there's a campsite there which is open all year. So we'll spend this evening there and get ourselves restocked. And then I think we'll have another couple of nights wild camping. And then we're going to really have to start thinking about that long drive south. So this is day 13. We left Gutulia National Park and we drove south towards Mora, where we spent the night. We decided to book into a little cabin just so we could spend the evening indoors, and we were able to get a shower there and restock our water supplies. And today we've driven south of Mora, so we're somewhere in the forest south of Mora, north of Karlstad. I'm not entirely sure where, but we've driven up to this turning circle where we intend to spend the night. But it's a good area around here. There's just miles and miles of unpaved roads running through the woodlands, and there's been a lot of forestry activity going on here. So the sides of the tracks are just lined with perfect firewood. It's all off the ground as well, a lot of it is, so it's well seasoned. So I've processed some of that, so we've got enough wood for a fire tonight. So yeah, I think we're just gonna relax and cook up some Swedish meatballs tonight on the Trangia stove, so looking forward to that. So the meatball stew went down well, really nice. But we finished eating food. We've got the fire on the go. We were just boiling some water to do the washing up, and we heard a moose call. Didn't sound too far away. Somewhere down there. So it's been about 15 minutes since I last heard the moose call. So it's probably heard us and decided to move off in another direction. But we might hear one come by in the night. I mean, we did on our first wild camp here in Sweden a couple of weeks ago. Big bull moose it was, making a right racket. It was right outside the tent as well. I didn't get a look at it though because we had a couple of blokes on quad bikes come by. I wasn't sure if they were hunting the moose or not, so we just stayed in the tent. But yeah, we might hear something later on.
So we didn't hear any wildlife, unfortunately, but it was a strange night, this one. It was unusually dark, and just as we were heading up into the tent we could see lights moving through the forest near camp. Not sure what they were, but we managed to survive the night anyway.
And finally, after many hours of a lie-in, Tris emerges from the rooftop tent. So this has been our standard breakfast on the trip, hasn't it, Tris?
Coffee and cinnamon bun.
Yeah, coffee and nice little cinnamon bun. Plenty of decent wood here, so we're going to stock up. I think for dinner tonight I'm going to fry some burgers with the Finnish wilderness pan over the fire. of the Hogerkusten lager on the go here. So cheers everyone. Oh, very nice. Triss is sitting in the cab because there's quite a few mosquitoes down here. When we were further north we hardly saw any. There's quite a few out at the moment. But I've got the fire pit set up behind the camera. I've got the wood mostly prepped, so I'll get the fire on in about 10 minutes time I think. I'll get the finished wilderness pan out the back of the truck, and I've got 4 beef burgers that I picked up at the ICA a couple of days ago. So I'm going to fry those up over the fire and that'll be dinner. So yeah, that's the plans for this evening. Well, I think it's time to end the video. We've got to pack up in the rain, then we've got a long drive down to Malmo, and then the day after that we're just going to blast across Denmark, Germany and the Netherlands. So there's probably going to be very little to show over the next few days. So yeah, we're going to sign off, but it's been a great trip again up here to Sweden and Norway, hasn't it, Trish?
It's been good.
Yeah, we've been lucky with the weather, and yeah, it's been great. So as ever, thanks for watching the video. We'll see you again in the next one.
Bye.
Cheers.